ZakPak, he's always there for you. ZakPak, only on YouTube. ZakPak, what will he do next? ZakPak, let's find out, 'cause it's on with the show.
Oh, hey guys. Yeah, I'm lost. You see, I won this really cool trip to the Arabian desert, but I'm starting to figure out there's a lot of just nothingness and, well, sand. You know, I haven't seen a singular person in hours, and literally there's been nothing... Wait, what's this? A copy of Aladdin on the Super Nintendo? I mean, that's cool and all, but it isn't even a clean copy.
Finally, someone set me free!
What the heck? Who are you?
Why, I am the genie at your service.
Wait, you're a genie? That means 3 wishes, right?
That's right, Master. Let me fill you in. I don't think you quite understand the magnitude of what you've got here.
Wait, where did this music come from?
Well, let me fill you in. Well, Alibaba had them 40 thieves, Sherazade had 1,000 tales.
No, we do not do musical numbers here.
Ah, truly a shame. Anyways, what will your first wish be?
Well, honestly, my first wish, I wish I was home. Because honestly, this trip has been a bust.
Alrighty, your wish is my command.
Please keep your hands and all other appendages in the aircraft at all time. Our flight time will be approximately 10 seconds, and if you may, enjoy the flight. Whoa, that was pretty wild. Thanks, Genie.
Of course, and whenever you're ready, let me know what your other 2 wishes will be.
Well, while I think of those last 2 wishes I want to use, I might as well get to playing the game I just found in the middle of the desert, Aladdin for the Super Nintendo. So, let's put her in the old Super Nintendo, boot her up, and give her a play. Aladdin on the Super Nintendo is a classic game based on the titular movie made back in 1992. It's a classic, and by far my favorite Disney movie, so naturally, I knew I had to play the video game. This game is a standard 2D platformer, and it follows the beats of the movie quite well, to be honest. You start off in the streets of Agrabah, jumping on the heads of guards and dodging their attacks. You better be good at jumping, because this game requires a lot of it, and it's the main way that you defeat enemies, and it's essential for the platforming. Speaking of the platforming, if you want to make this game easier for you, here's a recommendation. Get the rag in the early stages of stage 1. This rag allows you to glide while you jump, making it easier to jump longer distances and grabbing rubies that are just out of reach. You do have opportunities in later levels to grab it in case you miss it, but it's not in every level, so my recommendation is to grab it while you can. Oh, and you also have these apples that you can throw. They're good for taking out smaller enemies, but they'll only stun the bigger ones, so you'll want to use it as a complement to your jumping. The apples are mostly useful for hitting enemies that are shooting arrows at you so that it's easier for you to approach them and take them out with the jump. After you defeat the first level's boss, the next 2 levels have you exploring the Cave of Wonders. The Cave of Wonders honestly isn't too bad, until you have to escape and the whole place boils down into a pit of lava. At first, you have to do this difficult platforming section. Again, the rag is a lifesaver here. But then, you have the notorious flying carpet level. Here, you have to fly out of the Cave of Wonders while simultaneously being chased by a tsunami of lava. This level is notorious for its difficulty, as if you touch anything on the screen, you will lose immediately. After you complete that, there are 2 levels that honestly have absolutely nothing to do with the movie. Firstly, you enter this genie world, which I believe is supposed to happen inside the genie's lamp. Whatever happened to itty bitty living space?
Oh, that? Of course it's a myth. All of our lamps, or in my case games, has quite a bit of comfy space inside of it.
Wow, so you must be living your best life.
Yeah, I just don't love the whole master thing. I mean, it's so demoralizing to have to call whoever rubs the magic game master. Especially with the poof, what do you need? Poof, what do you need? Poof, what do you need? It just gets really old.
Oh, I'm sorry. Man, I actually kind of feel bad for him. Anyways, in this genie lamp, the platforming starts to get pretty tough, but this world features the classic Aladdin song, Friend Like Me. But that brings my first complaint about this game. The music in this game is good, don't get me wrong, but where's the iconic Aladdin movie soundtrack? The only songs that play in this game are Friend Like Me and Whole New World. This sucks because music from Aladdin the movie is absolutely iconic. Songs like Arabian Nights and Prince Ali are absolutely nowhere to be seen in this game. Like I said, the music in this game is good, so I'll at least give the game that, but the absence of these absolutely iconic songs is noticeable, and honestly, they're really missed. After the genie lamp level, we reach the sandy pyramids level, and I honestly have no clue how this level is relevant to the movie at all. This was probably my least favorite level. Thematically, it was the most boring, and it was a really hard level as well. I got my first game over here too, and get this. When you get a game over, you lose all the red gems you've collected, and you lose your rag, and you've got to start the whole entire level over again, no matter how far in you made it. That means that the only way to 100% this game and get all the gems is to never get a game over. And you all already know I am not going back to get all those gems. Once the desert level is done, you have a little bonus level where you fly around with Aladdin and Jasmine on the magic carpet. Cute. Then you head to the palace to face up against and take down Jafar. His boss fight isn't too complicated. The first phase of the battle, you have to dodge his attacks and jump on his head. Pretty standard for this game. The second phase is a little more complicated, where he turns into his snake form. Again, just jump on his head, but it's a little harder here since the floor keeps sinking. This section has some weird slowdown though. I don't know if it's supposed to make the jumping easier, but whenever I'm about to jump on Jafar's head, it's like the game slams on the brakes and slows down to nearly a molasses level speed. Other than that though, he's still pretty easy to defeat in his snake form, and that's it. Aladdin on the Super Nintendo is beaten. So there we have it. That's Aladdin for the Super Nintendo. Honestly, it is a pretty solid platformer. It's not really anything to write home about, and it's not the best 2D platformer of all time, but for a movie game, it's really freaking good. If only it had, the music from the original movie, and if only the game overs weren't as harsh. Honestly, it really makes me want to try out some of the other Aladdin games that are out there. Hey Genie, for my second wish, I wish that I could try out some of the other Aladdin games.
Really? All the wishes in the world, and that's what you wish for? Alright, your wish is my command.
Aladdin for the Sega Genesis, huh? This was the other major 16-bit platform at the time. I bet it's going to be very, very similar to the Super Nintendo version of Aladdin, so let's stick her in and give her a play. I couldn't have been more wrong. This game is very different from the Super Nintendo version. There are many noticeable differences here. Firstly, and most obviously, is the visuals. This game looks much closer to the movie. The sprite work is really freaking good. Secondly, the gameplay is much different. You can still throw apples like in the Super Nintendo version, but the main form of attack in this game is actually a sword. Okay, I know a lot of people really prefer the sword combat in this game over the jumping on enemies from the Super Nintendo version, but when in the movie did Aladdin really have a sword? He could barely afford, actually he couldn't afford a loaf of bread, let alone a freaking scimitar. And the last main difference is that most of the main songs from the Aladdin soundtrack are here and accounted for, like One Jump Ahead, Arabian Nights, and even Prince Ali. Which strangely enough is being played in the first level. Speaking of the levels, structurally it is very similar to the Super Nintendo version with a few tweaks. The Sega version does not have that stupid pyramids level, but it does have a level based on the palace dungeon scene from the movie. This is a much better, albeit really hard level. I have to admit though, the enemies in this level leave much to be desired. They're bats and skeletons that blow up. Exploding skeletons? When did that happen in the movie? Oh shoot! Anyways, after this maze of a level, we reach the next level, being the Cave of Wonders. This game's version of Cave of Wonders is very different. There's no logs to jump between or rocks to swing on. Here, you have to destroy statues. It's not too bad, but the bats are so small that they're so hard to hit, and they just knock your health out so quick. Speaking of, what is this health bar? Visually, it's cool, but you can hardly tell exactly how many times you can be hit before you die. Couldn't they have used a more standard health bar or just a heart system? Anyways, after this, Abu grabs a treasure, of course, and now we have to escape the level, and oh my god! This level was so hard, at least for me. I am not the best at platformers, I'll openly admit that, but I died here so much. So much so that I am sure that you're probably thinking Jafar is actually the one playing this right now. Let's get a quick death montage here, shall we?
Yeesh. You know, you could probably use your third wish to get past this part.
No, I've got this. Watch me. Finally! Now, I don't know what could possibly be harder than that. Honestly, this flying carpet stage is way easier than the one on Super Nintendo. The reaction time is way more forgiving, at least until the end when the game decides it doesn't want to tell you which way you're supposed to go. Anyways, beat that, and then there's the inside of the genie lamp level again. Being that both the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis version of Aladdin both have this level idea, but were made by two completely different studios, I wonder if the movie originally was supposed to have a scene inside the lamp. Anyways, back on topic, this level was actually pretty difficult. Honestly, the main thing that was throwing me off were these growing and shrinking hand platforms. The pattern to them was just bizarre, and more often than not, I would just fall through them. Everything about this level is just pure chaos, in a fun, yet also kind of infuriating way. Then, it's off to the palace for the final two levels, and honestly, the palace levels themselves weren't too bad. They were pretty easy and fun platforming. But the bosses in each one of these levels were tricky. First up is Iago's boss fight, even though there were multiple Iagos flying around throughout these levels, but this one is the real deal, the real Iago. At first, I thought hitting him with my sword would be enough, but I got wiped out really quickly. This fight is where the apples really come into play. You have to hit Iago from a distance with the apples while simultaneously dodging these ghosts wearing football helmets. Yeah, I don't know either. This game likes to use its imagination. After Iago, you then have to fight through palace guards and a million more Iagos to get to the final boss, Jafar. Jafar is now a sorcerer. He's gonna be really tough, so Aladdin has to use his sword to probably take him down. Nope, you gotta use the apples again. Admittingly, I enjoyed this boss. It offered a good challenge, and it was quite fun to complete. Especially when Jafar entered his snake state and you had to time your throws as well as dodge the fire. Once that is done, the credits roll and you beat the game. So there you have it, Aladdin for the Super Nintendo and Aladdin for the Sega Genesis, both reviewed. Now, which do I recommend? Well, it completely depends on what your personal preference for games are. If you're more into the precision platforming and collecting elements of 2D platformers from that time, then you're probably going to prefer the Super Nintendo version. But if you're more into fast-paced action with sword fighting combat, then you're probably going to more so like the Sega Genesis version.
Hold on. You said you wish for games, plural, so I have to satisfy your wish. Here's another one for you.
Jeez. Aladdin on Game Boy? Look, maybe I'm too young to appreciate the Game Boy, but Game Boy games typically age like milk. Now I gotta go find my Game Boy. Well, here she is. Let's stick her in and give her a play. Well, funny enough, the Nintendo Game Boy version of Aladdin is actually just another version of the Sega Genesis version of Aladdin. You know, it's weird to think that, Sega and Nintendo were complete rivals back in the 90s, full-on console war style, and that Sega's version of Aladdin was the one that ended up making it onto Nintendo's handheld platform, as opposed to Nintendo's version, which granted they weren't made by Nintendo and Sega, but it was still a really weird thing to think about. It plays like shit though. Yeah, it's structured the exact same as the Genesis version, but it runs like an old Game & Watch game. Remember when I said the Genesis version was fast-paced? Well, this version is slow as molasses. Not only that, but it's nowhere near as optimal. The visuals and sprite work as a whole are obvious downgrades. The music and sound effects are also nowhere near as good as polished, and it's just the worst way to experience Aladdin. Look, I know it's because of hardware limitations, but honestly, I still can't recommend this game. I mean, if you want to play this game on the go and this is your only option, then I guess go for it, but we're in the year 2024. There are way more ways to play the other games as well. I mean, heck, there's even the Disney Classics collection that you can get on the Nintendo Switch, and I think even on Steam, where you can play the SNES and Sega Genesis version of Aladdin, and honestly, you can leave this one in the dust. Honestly, Genie, I think that's about it.
Not quite. I have one last game for you to play.
What the heck? Aladdin and Nasira's Revenge? What is this? Who is Nasira? Why is Jafar in a crystal ball? Well, let's pop this sucker in and find out. Aladdin and Nasira's Revenge is meant to be a video game sequel to Aladdin. More specifically, it's a sequel to the direct-to-video movie sequel, Aladdin: The Return of Jafar. In that movie, Jafar comes back, Iago switches sides and sides with Aladdin, mostly because the palace has a lot of moolah, and honestly, it's one of the better direct-to-video sequels that Disney has made, even if it doesn't have Robin Williams returning as the genie. Back to the game, since Jafar properly dies in that movie, the game is about Jafar's apparent sister, Nasira, using magic to try and bring him back, taking over Agrabah, as well as kidnapping the princess and sultan in the process. Gameplay-wise, this game is a 3D platformer, where you're running around familiar locations like Agrabah, the Palace, and the Cave of Wonders. The first level, of course, is Agrabah, and it's a basic tutorial level. You'll learn the basic mechanics of the game, like how to use your sword, how to throw apples, and how to sneak by the apple vendors to get apples without alerting them. And a cool touch, whenever Aladdin does this, he hums One Jump Ahead. Touches like these that really make this feel like it's part of the Aladdin storyline. Heck, even most of the main voice actors reprise their roles. Aladdin, Jasmine, Jafar, Abu, and Iago all have their original voice actors, with Genie's voice actor being Dan Castellaneta, who voiced Genie in Return of Jafar, as well as the subsequent TV series. Anyways, back on topic, after going through Agrabah, we encounter our first minigame. Yes, there are minigames in this game. After most levels, you are able to compete in a minigame for a blue Genie gem. These minigames include platforming challenges as Aladdin, throwing pies at pictures of Nasira, and even Princess Jasmine skateboarding. Yeah, didn't you know? Princess Jasmine is an avid skateboarder. Heck, she's even in Avril Lavigne's music video, Skater Boy. Yeah, didn't you know? Anyways, after Agrabah is the palace, and I gotta say, the music did not have to go this hard. This level was honestly pretty short, and at the end of it, the genie gets captured and sent God knows where, and we get sent to the palace dungeons. Aladdin gets locked up, so now we have to take control as Abu to free him. That's right, this is the only Aladdin game where you get to play as a character other than Aladdin. Here, we have to find 3 candles, because this guy is scared of the dark, and when you do this, he will make a sleeping potion that'll make the guard fall asleep so that you can nab his keys, then you can go into Aladdin's cell and break him out. Very elaborate. Then, as Aladdin, the main goal is to escape the palace so that you can find Genie. Doing this requires a flying carpet level, and oh lord, this was tough. The controls are inverted, meaning that down is up and up is down, but left is left and right is right. This makes this section extremely frustrating to control. Thankfully, the game developers knew this and threw in a lot of checkpoints to make up for it, so honestly, it wasn't too bad. It just ate up a lot of the lives I had stocked up. Then we head for the Oasis. Here, it's just another standard platforming level. Nothing too difficult. Just make sure to plan and time your jumps well, or else you could end up falling in quicksand, and once you do that, it's over. Eventually, you enter the tent of this mystic who knows where Genie and Carpet are. Apparently, they both got sent back to the Cave of Wonders, so after doing more platforming, we face up against this spider that has the 2 pieces of the scarab beetle needed to open up the cave. So, after a pretty easy boss fight with this spider, we head to the Cave of Wonders. This level took up all of my lives and all of my continues. Some of the platforming here is absolutely insane. This level even includes an ice slide that you have to slide down. Why is there an ice slide in the Cave of Wonders? It's in the middle of the freaking desert. Now, I know deserts can get cold at night, whatever, but where's the moisture from to even create the ice for the ice slide? I'm really thinking too deeply into this. Anyways, we find Genie and Carpet trapped, and now we switch over to Abu to see if he can find anything useful. Abu's section is more tricky platforming, and oh crap, I didn't mean to run off that!
Game over! Goodbye, Aladdin! Forever!
Yeesh, how rude. Wait, when they say game over, they really mean game over. Yep, if you get a game over, you get kicked back to the title screen. Now, maybe that means that you can just reload a save file, but here's the thing, being real for a second, my PlayStation 1 memory card for some reason isn't working. So I've been unable to save any progress and I've been trying to get through this game all in one playthrough. Which means, by booting me out to the title screen, it completely undoes my progress and I have to start all over again.
You know, you could just wish yourself back.
Don't even finish that sentence.
Sheesh.
That's crazy that the game literally ends for you if you run out of continues. You'd think that this game wouldn't have such an old feature like that. This game came out in 2001, the year of the GameCube, and I even think the PS2 was already out by this point. Why is there such an archaic feature like kicking you all the way back to the title screen when you get a game over? No, I am not accepting this. Now, thankfully, this game was released back in the era of cheat codes. Yeah, you remember those? You put in a series of combinations of buttons and something happens on screen. Sometimes it's something funny, but sometimes it'll help you cheat the system. Well, there happens to be a cheat code to let me get back to where I was before. So, let me enter it here. I gotta hold L1, R1 on the main menu screen, then press triangle, square, circle, left, right, and then up. Then, all you gotta do is start the game, press L2 and R2 at the same time, and oh yeah, cheating never felt so good. Anyways, we finish up Abu's section in the Cave of Wonders, we free the Genie, and...
Abu! I told you not to touch anything!
Wait, I'm noticing a theme here. Yeah, one problem I have with the game's story is that there are times where it feels like a rehash of the first Aladdin movie's main plot, between the order of the levels being honestly very similar to the Sega Genesis version of Aladdin, and by extension the movie, as well as things like this that are just plot points ripped from the Aladdin movie. Okay, this really isn't the worst thing in the world, but this flying carpet segment really is giving me deja vu. I really wish that the game just took a little more creative liberties with its levels, you know, giving us some new locations, and other stuff that really wasn't in the original film.
Bye-bye, good luck, Al.
Oh, I really regret saying that. Yeah, remember how the Super Nintendo Aladdin game had an Egyptian pyramid? Well, this game has one too. Except this one is even more ass. If the Super Nintendo version was a shit sundae, then this one is a shit sundae with shit sprinkles covered in warm, gooey shit fudge. Some of the puzzles made me want to jump out of a window and land on a bed of spikes and live through the pain to tell the tale. Let me talk through some of the puzzles with you, because even the more simple ones were kind of a pain. In this room, you're greeted with a block that you can move, a platform with feet on it, and a platform that you can climb up. Well, obviously you start by moving the move block along the track to the hole. That's easy enough. Then what? Well, I see this platform here with the feet, maybe I have to stand on it. Nope, that doesn't work. Oh, maybe I have to ground pound on it. No, that doesn't work either. Get this, you have to jump on it from a higher platform and land on it. Okay, how is that, a simple jump off of a platform, able to sink the platform as opposed to the oh so powerful ground pound? Make it make sense. Another puzzle that fluffed my feathers is this one. Here, you have to guide a laser to the other side of the room. Iago tells me to reflect the lasers using the stones, so I figure they have to bounce off the rocks in a particular way. And it doesn't help that the game shows me this red dot bouncing around that I think is the laser, but actually isn't. It's this green thing. I was running around this room for ages, trying loads of different combinations of blocks, when I realized something. The dots on the sides of these blocks aren't just dots, they're holes that the laser goes through. And what you're supposed to do is guide the lasers through the holes using the arrows on the top of the blocks to help you get the laser to the end of the room. Why didn't the game tell me that? These blocks aren't full cubes, they've got cuts in them that make them look like they're able to bounce off the lasers from the sides of them, but that isn't the case at all. Anyways, after this puzzle we head into the next room where we fight Anubis. Yeah, Anubis, the Egyptian god of funerary practices and care of the dead. A good god. We have to beat him up. Okay, so I can already tell this boss fight's gonna be a real pain in my neck, and... oh. That was easy. Huh. On to the next level, we get to play as Princess Jasmine. Oh yeah, Princess Jasmine is one of the more badass, no-nonsense kind of Disney princesses. I bet her section is going to be full of action and adventure and...
Jasmine, shh! To sneak past the guards, you must hide in the urn using duck.
Okay. A stealth mission. I mean, I like stealth missions. They can be fun. But this stealth mission is absolute ass. Here, you run around as Princess Jasmine in a ceramic pot, and it's just annoying to play through. The platforming is tedious, the cushion bouncing mechanic was unreliable at times, and I swear the usually dumb palace guards suddenly wisened up, because if they even slightly see you in the peripheral vision, they beeline for you faster than you could say whoops. Anyways, the objective is to grab the map, which is on the roof of these ruins for some reason, then bring it out the gates to Aladdin. From there, he goes to the ancient city. Finally, somewhere new and interesting. Here, there's a timed platforming challenge. It wouldn't be too bad if this wasn't a PS1 title with platforming that's aged worse than 20-year-old chocolate milk. Depth perception can be very difficult at times, specifically with the jumping, and of course there's that late 90s, early 2000s camera jank. The camera can be your worst nightmare, especially because you can't control it with the second stick because not all PS1 controllers had thumbsticks. You have to use the bumpers. It's a mess. Once that nightmare is done, you proceed to the ancient city for an admittingly pretty cool level. The puzzles here are actually pretty clever and are really fun. Plus, I really like that ambient Arabian Nights music that plays on this level. Then, after an admittingly pretty easy boss fight on the magic carpet, we reach the final level, Nasira's Lair. This level is a test to all your platforming abilities and is the darkest and scariest level of them all, and wait, that music. Prince Ali. Nice. It doesn't really fit the vibe of the level, but this is a good rendition of it, so I'll accept it. Anyways, as I was saying, the game does scale up in difficulty quite a bit. Between more precise platforming, snake enemies that bite you and make your vision all fuzzy, and of course, lots and lots of lava, I got my second game over. Alright, I just want to be done with this game at this point. So, let's enter in another cheat code. L1, R1, triangle, square, circle, left, right, down. That one is infinite health, and I know, it's cheap, I'm gonna get flack for it in the comments, but look, I just want to finish this game. Let's get it over with. Anyways, after more platforming, you eventually reach the final boss, Nasira and Jafar. In the first stage, Nasira is dropping artifacts into the lava, with each one increasing Jafar's health. You can knock the artifacts out of Nasira's hands to make Jafar start off with less health when his battle starts. After that, you just gotta shoot his stupid head until he runs out of health, and then the game just kinda ends with a peaceful cutscene. So there you have it, Aladdin and Nasira's Revenge. Honestly, it's not the worst 3D platformer in the world, and when you understand the mechanics and can master the controls, then honestly, you'll probably have a good time with this one. It feels like a decent follow-up story to the second Aladdin movie. Now, Genie, about that third wish.
Excellent. Do you want unlimited money? Do you want to live peacefully and happily? Or do you want all the ladies? What do you want, Master?
Honestly, Genie, I can tell that you really don't like being cooped up in that game, so I wish for your freedom.
Wait, you'd really do that? Okay, hold on. Before I grant you this wish, let me make you a deal. A genie to a mortal. Now, I will happily let you have your third wish to yourself if you let me live the rest of my life on your shelf of games, just sitting there, living my life in my game, never to have to call anyone master ever again.
Then, honestly, I can wait on that third wish. Thank you for everything, Genie.
Anytime, my friend. Whenever you're ready, just rub my game and I'll be there in a snap.
I swear to God, never a normal day in the ZakPak household.